Joining us now, she is the head coach of the Illinois Fighting Illini, entering her ninth season, has been to four NCAA tournaments, and very happy to hear that she got extended through 2027 over there. I speak of Tyra Perry, back with us on In the Circle. Coach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm excited. How are you?
Doing good. I want to start with that. You got extended over the offseason to through 2027. What did that mean to you with the commitment from Illinois there in you, and obviously you getting to stay there where you've had great success?
Oh, it meant everything to me. I was very excited just to see the vote of confidence, and I've had a couple of extensions, so it's also kind of surreal, because I guess this one was put on social media and just the impact of how, social media has, on those sorts of things. And that, like on the softball world, it's really cool to note that there's interest, like that's a story. And so, that's really, really a testament to just all the hard work of people like yourself, just getting our sport out there, putting us on the map, and giving us the notoriety to where something like a contract extension is news.
It is. We see that in all the other sports, so why not softball? And I think it's a compliment to you because, over the years, every time there's a marquee job open, your name gets floated out there. And I think that's probably part of the reason why they want it out there to know, hey, no, she's ours. But that's got to mean a lot to you from that standpoint too, is that you're very well respected around the sport to the point where people try to float your name, whether it's real or not real. But that's part of the coaching industry.
Yeah, and it's interesting like how much networking and just notoriety and things like that, play a part in, the hiring process and things of that nature. And I've seen a great nod towards an interest in hiring minority candidates, which I think is amazing. And I'm always happy, when I'm looped in to try and help, in those places and spaces that are, looking to have a diverse applicant pool, and give people of color a chance. So I think that's one of the great aspects of just the evolution of the hiring process that I've seen.
You stole my thunder. I was going to ask you about this later in the interview, but since you brought it up, let's talk about the diverse. Because the last time we had you on, we had an extensive talk about that and what needed to happen to improve in the game. But you just said you've seen improvements. What do you think has changed over the last couple of years? Is it just more information? What has changed?
I think just the entire situation like with George Floyd, and then just you know the attention that was kind of paid to Breonna Taylor, and I think it's all tied in to those situations, and where DEI became something that was at the forefront of everyone's hearts and minds, even to the tune of new positions in athletic institutions opening up, to give opportunity to focus on community engagement and diverse hiring practices and workplace environments. So I think that has something to do with it. I think that part of history and time kind of brought a focus on, hey, what does our workplace look like, and is there an opportunity to create change and give many different types of people a chance.
I know the last time you were on, you mentioned too, one of the key factors was getting more players, minority players, to be involved in softball and play, and know that coaching could be an option after their playing days. How have you seen that? Have you seen a uptick on that in the last couple of years as well? And I would imagine with the recent news of the Olympics now, softball being back in the Olympics in Los Angeles, and now all the different countries around the world with different heritages being involved, it's got to help as well.
I think it does, Eric. I think it's a key factor. Getting softball back in the Olympics is huge. It never should have been taken out in the first place, but the part where it's back, I think, does help. Open doors and create more interest. From everyone. And I do think softball was able to pass the fourth paid coach. I think that's helped. Open up doors and create more opportunities. And I think people like Natasha Watley, and her foundation and the work that she does, she's out there, she's visible, and she's looking to, help model, behaviors, just and represent our sport, that, show that, hey, you can be successful here. Not only can you be successful as an athlete, you can have sustained success in many different areas, whether it be coaching, whether it be through running camps and clinics or having your own business. I think Natasha's been at the forefront of that, showing the other side of softball. And that I think that's where we were maybe lacking earlier. We're an equivalency sport, so you don't even really get a full scholarship. So you'll have, debt, when you finish, as opposed to like the basketball option or the volleyball option. And then, what happens after softball? Do you have, pro opportunities, and you have, Casio and, all these different people that are kind of showing, hey, there's something on the other side of this, you can play and then you can have, a lifestyle, with softball, whether it be through coaching or other things.
Well, and I've noticed that too, even on the pro level. Tori Tyson coached this summer, obviously, with winning the championship with the Texas Smoke in the WPF, which was owned by former Major League Baseball player Brandon Phillips and Jade Cargill, who's I'm seeing that involvement, which I didn't see that in the pro game necessarily 10 years ago. To your point, so I really I've seen to be encouraged by the direction in all different levels for the sport, as far as minorities being involved in a lot of different aspects in the game.
Oh yeah, and Tori, that's my girl. I love Tori Tyson, and just what she's done, in her program, and then the way that she's advanced, in as far as being coaching in the pro leagues and in her pro status, and just even on to what her family has done, with the Corona Angels. That's she's not necessarily directly involved there, but her family is just a powerhouse, in the travel ball world. So I think, just we had to diversify a bit. We had to diversify as far as, having more minorities involved, but we also had to show that, hey, there's many different branches to this tree.
That's the key right there. A lot of different areas. I think it's fantastic. So it's really been I'm happy to hear that you're saying that you're seeing the progress. That's really encouraging that we're heading in the right direction. That you're pleased with that. Let's talk about a little bit about your team last year. Yeah, 29-27 ups and downs. When you reflect on last year, what comes to mind as you go into this year with some of the returners?
Well, I can be politically correct when I need to be, but right now I'm not going to be. It was a big disappointment. So, the year before that we finished third. We had a variety of different things that happened, that scenarios that year that we possibly could have finished second or first, at some point. And we returned, most of those players were back. We only had two seniors. And it was really, that was it was a shock. So in 2022 we were like, hey, future's bright. We get to 23 and it's just a little bit, like you said, ups and downs, and I have to remember we still had a winning record. We won 29 games. We're one game away from 30 wins, which is usually like the bench, the first benchmark that you're trying to reach. We were right there. We had a number of one-run losses and things like that, and we played a good schedule. So, we had some successes there, but in regards to what we thought that we could do and what we should do, we were way below that. So, people always ask me why, and then we get to talking. You kind of hear that other people maybe had some similar uh, situations that that we had. In regards to that, we just had a large number of fifth years, seniors mixed in together. I mean, we had 11, I believe, that were graduating. So that is a good thing. And we are so proud of them and their dedication to our program, and that they were, their academic, achievements that they were able to, add into our program. But I also think it was a distraction at times, because there were like internships going on and job interviews, and it was most of the team. So you have a situation where the focus gets divided a good bit, and then we had a lot of new additions to our staff. Coach Lance had left to go to Alabama, and then we brought in Van Studeman, who's an excellent coach and top coach, but she was new. So we had some key changes going on all at the same time, And I think it just we didn't quite, get across the finish line there.
That's right. And of course, you had more change in the staff this year with Coach Studerman moving on to becoming a head coach. Which, by the way, Coach, you're got a quiet, sneaky like coaching tree developing there. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, and I'd love to take, credit for Coach Studeman, but she's a OG, like she's a vet. I'm sure, I'm happy, that we were able to get her back in the game where she belongs. She belongs in this game, and happy that we could kind of provide a catalyst or springboard, for her in that regard. And she's going to do really great things. She's already done great things in the sport. Her family, she's another person, with her sister Les, is killing it, over there at Alabama
Yeah.
Huntsville. So, those guys know the game, and, I'm sure, Van will be really pushing forward. But yeah, I do I love springboarding, young women into the coaching ranks, and that number is getting higher and higher, and I hope it continues.
What does that mean to you to have contribute to the game where you get other coaches that have coached for you or played for you, players that have played that move on to coaching, and you've had that influence, and then you've had people within this circles that lean on you for advice. Like I know Trina Prater, we're mutual friends of ours, talks about how you've meant a lot to her and her coaching career is currently at Campbell. Where did that come from you?
I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love being able to just kind of talk things out. I think most people kind of think I'm helping them, but they're helping me. And I talk across sports. One of my best friends, long time. We started together at Birmingham Southern. He was a soccer coach, and I was coaching softball. We were like kind of two young coaches. Kadani McAlpine, he just won, the SEC, Georgia's first title in soccer, over there. And I talk to him all the time, and so I know the value that he has, on my life and impacts, how much he's impacted me. And so I try to, use the wisdom that I gained from those conversations and the access that I have to certain people that maybe other people don't. I try to spread that around, and I love it. I love, just talking the game, talking sports, even if it's not my sport. Uh, I don't think I know everything, so how do you learn? You interact, you network, and you get, people in a room and you figure things out. So it's one of my favorite parts of coaching.
I know throughout your coaching career, from time to time, you've had a team, you've gone to Baton Rouge to play either at a tournament there or play LSU. And I know not too far in that building, somewhere in that stadium, is your old coach there, Yvette Gerard, among others. What goes through your mind when you go there to LSU for a visit, when you bring your team?
Well, the funny thing is, we're going in
Oh,
24.
breaking news. Thank you, coach. I like you all right. I love the breaking
Yeah.
news.
Yes, I go every couple of years or so. And, I did not get to play for Coach Gerard. I wish I had. The first coach at LSU was
Glenn
Kathy
Moore.
Compton.
Oh, Kathy, that's right. Yeah.
Kathy Compton was actually before Glenn Moore. Coach Moore was the pitching coach. She was an assistant.
Yeah.
So everything started up in '96, and so I was the second signee, first African American signee at LSU. And Coach Kathy Compton gave me that opportunity. She hired Coach Moore. I remember when he was hired, and I noticed that he had a Bible, in his truck. So I was like, "Oh, this guy's great." So had a great opportunity to work with Coach Moore. And at the end of my senior year, he actually became the interim head coach, and then he took over right after that. But whenever I go to LSU, it's home. It's home. I love it there. Coach Tarina is a longtime friend as well. We competed against each other. She was at Florida when I was at LSU, so
Oh,
I've
that's
known her
right.
forever. Yes, and then we coached against each other in the Sun Belt when I was at Western Kentucky, and she was at FIU. So we just keep going.
You two just have to collide here. You got to play every year, it feels like.
We have to. So she always welcomes us back. She treats us, just she treats, myself and my team like family. At one time when we had, Lance McMahon as our pitching coach, he was,
Right.
part of her coaching tree. So she just treats us, like family. And Howard Dobson, know him as well. I've known him a long time. So I just absolutely love being there. And hopefully we can get some Cajun food and somebody better have like a little crawfish ready for me because that's my favorite.
Ooh, I like these requests. This we'll have to pass this along. I boy, you're bringing that back some good memories. I used to cover CUSA those days. FIU, Western Kentucky. That was some fun days in that league. Lots have changed since, as we know now in college sports. But
Oh yeah, I'm even before that, Eric. Like we were Sunbelt. We were in the Sunbelt then,
that's
and then they
right.
went over. So the year the transition was about to happen, that's when I moved on to Ball State. So I'm even before that.
Been a
I
lot of
know.
moves.
Yeah, I know. I look young, but I'm a
You
little
are.
old now. Yeah,
Oh, I
there's a
don't
few
believe it.
gray hairs in there.
I refuse to believe that. Now let's talk about. Obviously, we were talking about your coaching staff. You've added Kirsten Verdon over from Wisconsin. Just talk about adding her, someone that you've obviously has done a great job at Wisconsin, but is in the league. You faced against her. So you've seen up close what she does with her pitcher. So just talk about that move, adding somebody that knows the league inside out. And I would imagine probably gives you some scouting report as far as, hey, this was our perspective about your team from my view, because you got to face them.
Oh, Kirsten is an assassin. Like she lives for the moment. I watched her just, take on Alabama last year, Oklahoma, I believe, as well. And so she really just gets it done. And I love what she's bringing to the table. I was talking to one of our pitchers yesterday, and she's like, it's like, how's it going with Coach V? And she's like, it's great. Like, I love Coach V. She's getting me right. That's her terms. And she was the young lady's terminology, but she's like, it's tough. These are some of the toughest, most, challenging bullpens that I've ever had. And it's exactly what I need. And Kirsten gets in there, she gives them the why, this is why we're doing this, and this is how it's going to help you. And to have someone of her caliber with us is awesome, but she knows the league. She's not going to have to wait, and spend time, getting to know the league, and she can still throw it, so she gets out there, and she's a left-hander, and if we need a lefty perspective, she can provide it for us.
Really? How hard can she throw?
I don't have a gun on her, but I bet it's 60 something. She brings it, but her bread and butter is her changeup.
Oh, so have we done this yet where Coach Trout's been at the plate and they face off there? Because I'd like to see that personally.
Now that needs to happen, and I'll make sure that there's a camera out there
I'll
for.
do play by play for you, Coach. If you need one, I can
Okay,
do it remotely. I will bring.
okay.
I'm in for free on that.
Oh, we need to
Uh,
get that set up.
but I'm deal. I am fascinated though, because as I mentioned, she was your played at the same conference, faced you many a times. I would imagine that she's giving you some talk about what when she was facing you, what she saw in your hitters, for example, because she had a game plan against your hitters. And that it's almost like a self-evaluation. Something it's you try to self-evaluate from the bubble, but now you have somebody that's coming in from outside the bubble that can tell you what the perspective was from the outside, which has to help moving forward.
Oh, definitely. It helps. It's great because even today, like we were doing live hitting groups today. And so she's working with the pitchers, of course, but then she'll come in and speak to the hitters. I'm like, hey, Coach V, what did you see? What angle were you guys working with us? What was effective? What wasn't? And so she adds that to her knowledge of our team, what she sees in the moment, plus what she already knows, and it's great. Like we can see again how she's elevating our pitching staff, but she's also elevating our offense.
Of course, another person on your staff, Sydney Sickles, which I still have to double check because I'm just used to seeing her on the box score, not 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 with a coaching title. So that's going to get me a little time to get used to that. But just talk about keeping her around and keeping her on the staff full time after obviously her great career in the circle.
Sid is amazing. She's a breath of fresh air. Like she's a natural born coach. She just has that demeanor. She's so calm, just like she, was as a pitcher for us. She's calm as a coach. She's willing to do anything that we need. She's selfless. She pitches as well. So if we need a right hander or a rise baller or whatever, she can throw it all. She's learning a lot about the rest of it. Like the day to day and behind, we pull back the curtain, so to speak, so that she can see, how the donuts are made, you know. And so I think it's been interesting just kind of talking her through that. We have Avery Steiner, who was our second baseman last year, who's over at Ball State. And so it's so cool to kind of run into her out on the recruiting trail and talk to her about, hey, it's different on this other side, right? She's like, oh yeah, yeah, coach. Like, and it's a plus, there's positives there and there's some hard work things, but we knew that those two wanted to coach. So we talked to them quite a bit about just the coaching life, and it's fun to see them on the other side.
How early did those conversations begin with Cindy? Is that something that's talked about while she's playing? Does she bring it up, or is that something you wait after this? I mean, how does that kind of dialogue begin?
Oh, we talked. We had many conversations with both Sid and Avery. Gabby Robles was on our team last year. She was interested in coaching as well. So anyone that has any sort of interest, we have a few coming up that are interested in director of ops positions and things like that. So we talk directly to them and answer any questions they may have, and kind of give them the why or the mindset of a coach whenever we can.
What's the biggest advice you give them when they say, "Coach, I'm interested in getting into coaching"?
Just to make sure that they have some feel, like have feel when you get into whatever environment you're in, like with Avery at Ball State, or anybody else that's out there. I used to coach Olivia Watkins, who is at Duke now. We talk quite a bit as well. So we just talk a lot about whatever we did was good, so it's good that you have that knowledge and information, but you need to find out what that coach wants and what that program needs, and whatever skill set you bring to the table, bring it every single day. And that coaching is a calling. It's about your X's and O's, but you're not going to be effective if you don't know how to build relationships and how to communicate. So we talk a lot about those sorts of topics.
Now, the good news is you've got Sydney Seckles still on your program. She's around. She's going to be in the dugout. That's the good news. The bad news is she's not in the circle. So I'm probably the first of many that's going to ask you. You don't, and it's going to be a silly question, but how do you replace her? You don't. That's the answer. But it does give opportunities to other pitchers. You do have some returners in the circle, but just talk about your pitching staff this year and the outlook so far through the fall and going moving forward.
Well, we have Lauren Wiles, drop baller. She was tremendous for us her freshman year. She was all Big Ten, all freshman team. She had some struggles last year, and she's gone through some pretty significant issues in her life, like with the passing of her mom and things like that. So she's been a trooper for us, and I think this year she's kind of settled in, settled down. She's working hand in hand with Coach B, so I'm looking forward to what Lauren brings. She throws a drop ball, hard drop. And I think she's, as a junior, she's ready to go. We also have a newcomer transferred into us from Mississippi State, but she is an Illinois native from Huntley High School. Bree Bauer, she's with us. So she throws up, has that natural upspin. So we're pumped about Bree. She throws hard, is working on changeups and things like that, and being as, maximizing her potential. But she's an athlete, and we're excited about Bree. Not super emotional, which I like. Like, she's just on the mound, she just does her thing. So that's really cool. And Juliana Hooker, she's a sophomore from Tampa. She threw here and there for us last year, but she's spent her summer just getting after it. Has really turned a corner this fall. So I think she's a down baller. Tall kid, 6 footer. So she's got long levers, and I think she's really shown a lot of promise this year as well.
Offensively, who are some of the leaders you depend on offensively, not just from a production standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint, whether it be leading by example or vocal?
Well, we actually, I'm old school. We have captains. I know people do all kinds of things and shied away from it, but even if you're not calling them captains, you have captains. So for me, I like saying calling them captains. It's good for their resume. You can write something like that down. It denotes, leadership qualities and traits. And we actually actively use them. We meet with them quite a bit. We have a lot of discussions. It's not at the exclusion of everyone else on the team, but I think captains are important. So our captains were just selected. We have Kelly Riono. She's a newcomer to that space, but old kid on the team. She's a fifth year, and Kelly just embraces the leadership aspect of in every way. She's a leader that speaks, but she just embodies all of the positive traits that we want. That bring a program forward. Like, if you're a coach and you see someone that is always hitting, always working hard, always, investing in others and killing it in the classroom. That's Kelly. She's great. She's actually our SAC president. She just she missed practice yesterday. She was at the Big Ten office, doing presidential things. And we're super, super proud of Kelly. And then we also have Megan Ward, our shortstop. Megan was interesting. She's super quiet, but one of the hardest working athletes that I've ever been around. And she speaks up when she needs to. So she's doing a really good job for us there. And Stevie Mead is newly selected, and she's an outfielder. Just shows a lot of fortitude and is fully bought into the program. And Steve is a great leader.
You mentioned Kelly. She's doing all that. Last year, 352, 12 homers, 48 RBIs. Impressive. What makes her such a great hitter, an explosive player that probably is one of the more underrated hitters, really, when you think about not just the Big Ten, but among the nation?
Kelly is so easy to work with, so she has developed. Coach Trout is an excellent hitting coach. She does I've seen her elevate, so many, when they come here, they can hit. Like if you're at this level, you know how to hit. And that's something we have to kind of remind something like some of them. You already know how to hit. We're hitter enhanced. So Kelly was there for it. Like anything that we asked her to do, any area that we, wanted to kind of say, hey, try this, not this. She always, worked on it. She worked at it. She asked questions. So she's really, really good because she should be. She worked for it.
Who are some new faces you think could help offensively that you think could contribute either offensively or defensively? Because we always focus offense, but defense I know is just as very important in contributing to the victories, and that could play a factor as well. And sometimes for a young player, that's what keeps them away from getting more playing time is being more consistent defensively.
Oh, Eileen Donahue. She is a Beverly Bandit, so she's a Bill Conroy product, and you can tell like she can squeeze with the best of them. She's a big old kid, but she can lay down a squeeze if she needs to. And so we're gonna use her for that a little bit, but the biggest thing I've seen from her is just her ability to again soak in information and apply it really quickly. She wants to be good. We'll finish practice, go in and meet as coaches, and come back out, and she's still out there. You'll hear, you'll hear the ball being hit, and you kind of look over, and it's Eileen. So, and not only is she working really, hard herself, she's also bringing people with her. So, like, well, looks like there's two people in the cage hitting. Who else is there? And it's Delaney Mosley. She's a John Corn product. She was Gatorade, Player of the Year in her area, and just strong kid, lefty bat. Has a lot of prowess at the plate. So I love those two and what they bring to the table. And I think they have a really good chance of contributing right away. We have another transfer. She was Ivy League Player of the Year, and again, when you watch her work, she's so innovative. Serena Starks. She is an outfielder, but on the left side, she can swing it. She can lay down a bunt and beat it out because she has great foot speed. And the best word to use for Serena is innovative. Like she's super, obviously highly intelligent, and she plays the game in that way. But she has this unique ability to shut her brain off when she's playing, which is interesting to see with someone who is that intelligent. But you know, if she's once she was kind of moving her mouth and moving her head around, I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm singing a song." Like she just puts a song in her head and lets it fly. So super impressed with Serena so far and her work ethic, and I think she's gonna make a big impact on our team.
Laura Trout, she runs your offense, and it's always, when I look at Big Ten conference numbers and stats every year at the end of the year, I always see, oh, there's Illinois near the top of the league, because your season stats, while good, maybe doesn't jump out to some people, but that's because you play one of the toughest schedules in the country. Other teams pad up their numbers based on their schedules and things. You don't do that. But just speak to her because she's been another name that people wonder, could be a future head coach if that's a direction that she's wanted, and comes with a lot of respect in the sport.
She's my day one. Like we've been here at Illinois building this program since day one. She's very she's very quiet and unassuming, but there's a fire inside of her, and I guess her red hair kind of shows that part. But she is constantly learning, constantly evolving. The players absolutely love and respect her. And she's passionate. She's quiet, but she's passionate. You can see it. Sometimes it's underneath the surface a little bit, but she if there's a bad call by the umpire, she's on it. Or if there's a hit that she thought that we should get, and we don't quite secure the ball or square it up, you're gonna know it. So she's excellent. I'm so blessed to have her with me. She knows the game, and there's not a lot of females running offenses out in softball
Right.
as there used to be, and she's one of the best. She's one of the best to do it.
No, I think that's a great perspective point you bring up there from that standpoint where you talk about hitting coaches. I agree. I think she's so fantastic and very underrated, and maybe in some circles in part there. But you mentioned the fiery because you mentioned that all I could come up with, and she's not going to like that I bring this up, was a couple of years ago in the Big Ten tournament where the umpire just threw her, ejected her because she questioned like a replay or something. Like, it was kind of nuts.
It was nuts, and that's, I mean, it's actually like in the rules or whatnot about question and replay, but we see people do it all the time, and
Right.
people did it right after her. And and then even the way that she was questioning it wasn't exactly questioning it. She was asking for clarification.
Right.
So yeah, I thought that was, something that should not have happened.
And no, and like I watched the broadcast, you didn't do anything. There was no like physical,
No,
dimension thing at all. That was kind of crazy. But I remember her having to walk out of the door and the fence. It was just kind of nuts. And I'm sure she was burning inside, probably a little livid, but she kept it together. To your point,
she was
but
living.
yeah, but it's a great message to your players though of keeping your cool, right? Keeping your calm in all scenarios.
Oh, absolutely, and you have to do that. This game is full of ups and downs, and we play on the road a lot. So you get all kinds of things happening. So you have to keep your cool.
Couple more things. Obviously, the Big Ten always difficult, and it's going to get even more difficult and bigger starting next year with the additions of UCLA, Oregon, Washington. What's your thoughts on the league and where it's headed with the growth of this league? You're going to be having some West Coast trips and some West Coast teams coming to your place down the road.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I think it's already fun, so it's just the more the merrier. If it's a party, you want to have everyone there. So we just, had our head coaches meeting not too long ago at the Big Ten office, and it was fun to see, Kelly I and Heather Tar out there giving their input. So I think it's going to be amazing. Just even with the addition of Jordy Ball over at Nebraska, we open with them, and we're excited about it. I think all of those additions bode well, for just elevating our league, which we need to do. We need to continue to try to elevate the league.
Is that something as coaches you talk about? Because I know the volleyball coaches in the league have done that and have really pushed, and they've created their own media days on Big Ten Network and trying to get aware and get the word out in volleyball, and it's working. People are watching that. Are you all doing the same there as softball coaches and how to make, grow the sport from your own internally and saying, what can we do to get the word out?
Oh, no question. I'm constantly on the phone with Kate over at Northwestern, and talk quite a bit to Kelly, Ohio State, like, and Sharonda, Michigan State. Like, we talk a lot. Clarissa does a really good job over at Penn State, just trying to move the needle a little bit. And so, and I can name all the names, but yes, we are consistently in a state of how do we elevate the Big Ten. We with the big moves that have been made by the conference and the television packages and all those things. What's softball's place, in those spaces. And then our new commissioner has a baseball background, and he loves softball as well. So, we're really hopeful that, we'll see some elevation, just by him, and that we'll have a champion, in the Big Ten office that says, hey, I want softball to be at the forefront of the
Will
Big
the
Ten.
will the Big Ten with the new look next year? How will that affect your non-conference scheduling? I know it's still being finalized, and the formula and everything. But as I understand it, I think there's be an extra weekend perhaps added to the Big Ten slate. That's possibly on the table. How does that affect your non-conference moving forward?
Yes, all that's possible, but nothing has been solidified yet. So I don't know. I do think it'll look not for us, not a lot more. I don't think it's going to be much different than what we're already doing. Like a few years ago, we went to Rutgers and we went to New York and went to a Yankees game. So we took that one trip, that way. And then I think we'll just have one that we go to the West Coast. I don't think we're going to be like flying all over the place, like people kind of maybe initially thought, because we don't play everyone. We rotate. There's going to be more regional play than anything, with a couple of deviations from that, to where we go west, we go east, and then somebody west and east comes to us. So that's my understanding, at least at this point.
And then the conference tournaments will still rotate among the campus schools. Is that correct? That's not going
Yeah,
to change.
I don't think so. That's what I understand. They'll
Okay.
continue to.
That's going to be wild. I know we're going to talk about that more in the future years, but it's going to be some wild stuff there with realignment. But you've gone through this. You mentioned this earlier, through all the conferences you've coached. I mean, it's amazing, the evolving door. What's it like to be involved in when there's leagues, you're in leagues that are in transition like this? I mean, everybody's doing this now in realignment, but you've gone through this. This is like, you're probably one of the few that are like, yeah, whatever, whole big deal, done that, been there, done that type of deal, because you've seen it all.
Yes, I mean, I don't think much of it. Like you said, I do feel. I was just talking to a friend of mine who was just inducted into the Hall of Fame at UCLA. She was a swimmer, a while back, and it is surreal to someone who has a history, and your conference is gone. Like, the pack's gone. Like, that's something I think it'll take a lot of people a long time to kind of wrap their brains around. I don't think it's hit yet, like fully hit. Especially when you see the success that they're having in football, this year, and in
Sure.
previous years, of course, but this year especially, it's just kind of strange. So from that aspect, I think it's a big change. But from my end, not so much. I do think about, like, I played at LSU in the SEC. When they added like Missouri, they're adding, it was like weird, and then now they're adding Oklahoma and Texas. But eventually all of those additions became the norm. So I think over time heals everything, right? Or gives you perspective. So I think over time it'll be the norm.
That will definitely be the norm when it comes to that. It's kind of unique, and like I said, it'll be kind of getting some used to it, like you said, for sure. As we let you go, you mentioned, first of all, your non-conference schedule. Your schedule is always one of those that I put a notification on,
Mhm.
because I know your schedule will not be boring. I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm always intrigued. I know you're not going to tell me until, because it's not officially out yet. But although you teased one earlier, you did break some scoop there. But just talk about your philosophy as far as non-conference schedule, because it's not lip service. You consistently, almost every year, basically, is among the top non-conference schedules in the country. Where did that philosophy? What does that come from?
Well, I want to challenge. If we're looking to win a championship, you have to challenge, and then just navigating RPI. And making sure that we are putting ourselves in a position to have a high RPI. And but still have a winning record. Still win games. So we push ourselves in that way. We're in a state too of where we're getting a lot of players that have to be developed. So, and we love it. Like, we love having that developmental aspect to our program. And in order to do that, they have to be challenged. You have to play the game faster with a little bit, more rigor, and you do that by playing the best. So we put ourselves out there. We put ourselves out there, and we have we have to travel quite a bit with the Big Ten, so we have these amazing trips and amazing opportunities. We talk about ourselves as, hey, we got nothing to lose. So we go out there and we play our best. There's going to be a point where we're looking to turn that corner to where we are the destination. Right now we're climbing the ladder, but we're trying to get to that point to where, we're in the top, of softball programs. And I think we're heading that way.
obviously you mentioned the RPI. This upcoming year, they're going to include the KPI as another tool that the committee can use. Kevin Pog, who works in the Big Ten, has been pushing for this. We had him on the show about a year ago and talk about his formula. And I know he's talked to a lot of the Big Ten coaches, not just in softball, but other sports about it. That's also another tool to help the committee there is try to figure out some of those decisions. Do you keep track of like the stuff they use from that standpoint? Because you're right, your non-conference schedule, that is something that nobody can ever question, and certainly helps you in years past when you've been on the bubble and gotten in, is because of that tough non-conference schedule, which the committee has admitted that's one of the things they look at.
Oh, I love Kevin. I think he's brilliant. We use his formula to kind of vet our schedule every year. You play as many games that tough games as you can play, but without compromising the winning record. So so he has some of that built in, plus some other things obviously into his formula. I'm so excited that we've expanded. We're not just RPI only. So many other sports use multiple systems to determine their champions. So I think it's great that softball's kind of following suit there, and KPI I think is a proven measurement that works, and I think it'll work for us. But yes, I believe in Kevin and his system, and I'm happy that we're using it.
Volleyball and soccer, women's soccer, the last couple of years have been experimenting seeding 32 teams. Is that something that's been brought up around the softball circles? Would that be something you're in favor of? Would you like more information about? What's your thoughts on that? Or do you like it the way it is now, seeding 16?
I think expansion is good. Everybody's expanding. I think you look around and you kind of go with the times. You don't want to get left behind unless there's some obvious negative impact in regards to expansion. But if there isn't, I think you do it. The more the merrier. See, because there's always like this just grumbling. After the seats come
Oh,
out
yeah.
and all that. So I think this could possibly help some of that go away. Kind of create a little bit more transparency and some things. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, not to call anybody out, but it seems like when you make the tournament, there's a certain location they tend to bus you to. I'm just saying we can try something different. If we expand the seating. That's all.
Yeah, we go to Kentucky quite a bit.
I think you have residents there.
uh, yeah, they should give me a house or something.
That's what I'm saying. That should be negotiations next time.
At least an apartment, right?
A rental. I don't think that's a lot to ask, considering how many times you've been there. Uh,
Yes.
and I'm sure Coach Lawson would agree on that. She might, it's like, can we just get her somewhere else? I don't want to deal
Oh,
with our team.
yeah, I've known Lawson a long time. I came in after her at Western Kentucky. She was a coach there before,
Yeah.
and she gave and helped me out, with that particular position. So I owe a lot to Coach Lawson. But yeah, I could not see her, again,
It's
and go.
okay. Nothing personal. Just, let me go see somebody else once in a while.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah, love her, but yeah, we could go somewhere else.
Last thing, as you wrap it up, fall now, before the season will get here, what are a couple of keys for your team this year to accomplish your goals and get back to where you want to get to? You said last year was a disappointment. How do you turn that around this year? What are a couple of keys?
Well, I think, last year we were maybe 5 games away from something better, like better in conference, better overall. You add 3 to 5 wins to the 29, it's a whole different conversation. So I don't know if it's a scrap it, and start over sort of thing. I just think it's hey, we lost focus, especially towards the end there. We got off to a slow start. That happens. It doesn't have to like completely turn you around. I think we got off to a slow start. We kind of got like taken aback by that. Just each game is important. You play each inning. We need to work our system and play team ball. No individuals, and we have NIL and all these different things floating about. It's kind of an interesting dimension to the team. Saying team, team, team. If I'm and I'm that type of coach. But I think our players know that like we have to be a team. We have to work together as a unit, as a team, and believe in the system. And once we do that, I believe we will elevate this program to the highest heights.
Well, we look forward to seeing your team on the field this upcoming year, Coach. But in the meantime, thanks for so much for talking to us. I know it's a busy time, but I always enjoy talking to you, not just about softball on the field, but off the field and all the different topics. You always bring a great perspective. We always appreciate that, and we appreciate you always coming on. And like I said, if you ever need a remote broadcaster to, those coaches, maybe, one on one, or maybe you join in. You and Sickles could be a 2-on-2. I'm there to remote broadcast. Play by.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. And have you talked to Kat Tarvin?
No, I've not.
I just went over there and had the coolest experience. They won the MEAC
Yeah.
this year, and they had a gala to present their rings. And she invited me to go and speak. So I had the opportunity to talk to her team, and it was just the coolest experience. And that's the first softball championship, and I think the first MEAC championship of any sport at NCCU.
Right.
So, from what I understand, so you may want to confirm that. But I mean, Jamie Hoover's over there. One of her assistant coaches. She's got a stellar staff, and a lot of her top players, top of the MEAC, are returning. She was over there too with Tori as an assistant
Yeah.
coach with the Oak. She may be a good person to talk to.
Ooh, I like this. You want to be an executive producer on the show. I like this. You're
Hey,
giving me booking ideas.
Hey, just I'll be a silent partner. Just sign me on there as the executive, but I'll let
Deal.
you make decisions and
Deal.
take all the credit. Yeah.
I take a deal. Thank you for the advice. I'll definitely write it down. Could be something in the future there as well. But as always, I'll take every advice, suggestions you got, Coach. Anytime. You're always welcome to come back and reach out. But thanks, Coach, and enjoy the holidays.
Same to you. Again, I'd say this to you every time. I appreciate you so much, and I hope my little yappy dog in the background wasn't too
Oh,
bad.
I did not notice. I did not notice you had a dog. That's awesome.
Good. Yeah, I put him in a different room, but he's been yapping. But yeah, thank you. Your platform and people like you that really understand the sport and really care about us. I mean, we can't say enough about you. Thank you so much.